It has been a wild few days with the weather. Almost makes you feel like it's Jumanji outside, but whatever the weather has been, right now, 7 p.m., April 9th, 2025, it is a beautiful day to talk Jamestown Tarp Skunks baseball on 107.9 WRFA. Hello, everyone. I'm Dre Guinness, welcoming you in to another exciting episode as we march toward May 29th and the opening day between the Jamestown Tarp Skunks and Batavia Muck Dogs. Coming up on the program, we do have an interview with Brady Wright, one of the pitchers for the Tarp Skunks through the 2024 campaign. His dad and mom actually came up to the booth the night after the big Buffalo Diesel game where he earned the number 10 play of the 2025 season with a 2-run double as a pitcher. So that will definitely get brought up, and a whole lot more. We will check in with Brady Wright. But before we get into that, the promotional schedule, I have been told, is due to be released in a couple of weeks. Here are just a few of the highlights of some of the things that are going to be coming up at Russell E. Dietrich Park. The return of the ever popular $2 nights. That's $2 tickets, $2 beer, $2 hot dogs, $2 beer, $2 beers, and $2 beers. And maybe, we'll see, I don't know about this, we'll have to check in on this, but $2 sodas too. That could be something. We'll definitely check in with Christian Dulce later on and see if the $2 sodas make the list. Some of the cool things coming up for the kids, though. There is going to be a Tarp Skunks Kid Camp, a Kids Carnival Night, and a Youth Baseball and Softball Night. Free admission to all kids wearing uniforms to the game. We also have the 4th of July celebration. That will be taking place July 3rd versus the Niagara Ironbacks. And that should be an electric night at the ballpark. Also, first responders and medical healthcare professional night returns, as well as a game that has a personal attachment to myself, the Strikeout Cancer Night. Last year raised, I believe, over $3,000 during that campaign. And it does hit home for me a little bit because I do run my own breast cancer awareness fundraisers every October through my own personal endeavors. And, it's a wonderful program and a wonderful game to come on out, get a chance to win a pink game-worn Tarp Skunks jersey, and support an absolutely wonderful cause. A couple things before we get into Brady Wright here. Last week, we ended the show talking about the Whiffy Foundation, and I was informed that Lisa Lind is no longer the contact person. We will get the updated contact person information that we can share on an upcoming episode and on the website, JamestownTarpSkunks.com. And speaking of JamestownTarpSkunks.com, that is where you are going to want to go to get your season tickets for the 2025 season, the Tarp Skunks 5th anniversary. Just JamestownTarpSkunks.com. Click on the ticket link and click on single and season tickets, and that'll get you right to where you need to go. Also, we do have some interviews on the media tab. If you click on the media tab and click on videos, there are some videos of Christian Dulce, Frank Jagoda, a couple of highlights from previous seasons, and of course, the archives of Tarp Talk. Also, the other thing I wanted to bring up and mention is the email address that I gave at the end of the show was just a temporary one. I went ahead and set up one specifically for this show, specifically for anyone in the Jamestown area, in the Tarp Skunks community, if you have any questions about the team, any comments, if there's something that you want to talk about, perhaps your experience from last season, something that really you just want to get out to the Jamestown Tarp Skunk community, there is a new email address, and it is tarptalk2025@gmail.com. That is tarptalk2025@gmail.com. All right, as we get set here to talk to our guest this evening, former pitcher for the Jamestown Tarp Skunks from 2024. Last season, had a big moment in the exhibition game against the Buffalo Diesel, where coming up late in the game on a 2-2 pitch, drilled a 2-run double down the left field line. So much so that I thought my play-by-play colleague, Matty G, was going to have a conniption fit and fall out the window of the booth. He was that excited, but it was good enough to earn the number 10 play of the year. And without any further ado, let's get in to talking to Brady Wright. Guys, and for Brady, I think his greatest moment happened Monday in that game with Buffalo. Did he call you after the double and say, did you see it? Were you watching?
So I don't want to rat him out here, but we definitely got a pretty advanced notice that he was going to get an at-bat and play second base. And so we had turned off the game because we knew he wasn't throwing, and we were tuned in to watch the Rays play, our hometown team. And once we knew that there was a chance for him to get into the game, we turned it back on and got to watch it live as an entire family, the rest of the family, without Brady, obviously, and jumped up off the couch yelling and screaming. As soon as he worked it to a 2-2 count,
the 2-2,
I was like, man, he's going to get his pitch. And what's funny about that is that he has not had an official at-bat since his sophomore year of high school.
Oh, wow.
And so when he was still in travel ball, back then, before he became an official PO, he's actually a really good hitter. And when they took the bat out of his hands, it made him a PO. We always were like, man, I wish we get a chance to swing it every once in a while and seeing him get that chance and actually come through. All he said when he called me after the game was, you knew it was coming.
Swinging, there's a line drive down the left field line. That's a fair ball. It's going to be extra bases. 2-run scores, and Brady Wright with a double. Oh, my God. Pitchers can hit. Joining me now on Tarp Talk is one of the more used and probably one of the, more entertaining players that we had last season. And that not only goes to him, but it also goes to his parents who came up and visited us in the booth. Brady Wright joining us on Tarp Talk. Brady, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing today?
Doing absolutely fantastic. Congratulations on a great season last year. I know there was some issues, some players coming, some players going. And, let me ask you first off, how do you deal as a pitcher coming in with the, restrictions that the college that you've signed to play for, they're going to have restrictions on, how many innings they want you to work or, what they want you to work on. How does that, going into a season like this, play into your mindset for getting ready not only for individual games, but for the season itself?
So for me, I didn't really have an innings cap because I hadn't gotten to the college yet, so I still had plenty of time before any actual game started. But the one line I was told was don't get hurt. So every game was more of a preparation thing for me, like just making sure I was fully stretched out in, both my arm, my legs, every part of my body, making sure I was ready. I wasn't going in, unprepared, whether it was a start, a relief opportunity. I just always wanted to make sure I was ready to go. And that sometimes takes days prior to a game if I'm starting, just doing the right things the days before, whether it's certain days of throwing or lifting or certain days of recovery, stretching, stuff like that really goes into it. And then there's days where it's relief chances, where you have a lot less time to prepare Sometimes, you only get 10, 15 minutes. You have to get put into an emergency situation. But, sometimes those are your best games when you are just kind of letting the adrenaline work.
Now, is this your first experience actually going out of state and playing for, a team like this, or have you done that with travel ball in the past?
I did travel ball all throughout high school, and we take the occasional trip to Georgia, Alabama, some places like that. So this was definitely a different experience, getting to play up in New York, some crazy atmospheres, a lot of fans, loved the Jamestown environment, having the thousands of fans supporting me every game. And then even on the road, going to places like Batavia or Auburndale, like places like that just have a bunch of fans. And it was such a cool experience getting to play with the different views. Some games in the mountains, like even in Jamestown, the forest behind the field, like it was a crazy experience, taking the bus, 6, 7, 8 hour bus trips to road games. And it was a really different environment than travel ball because in travel ball, it's mostly, you travel yourself, you meet the team there. This time it felt more like a family. We all travel together. Everything we did was together. And so it was a really, really fun experience and I enjoyed it.
Talk to me about the dynamic of coming in from, out of state into an environment like this where you really don't know anybody. How quick, how easy is it to make friends, make relationships, and kind of everybody get on the same page? Because I know right before the season starts, you guys don't have a lot of time. It's not like the major leagues where you get 6 weeks of spring training. You basically have to condense that down into what, 3, 4, 5 days?
Yeah, I think when we got there, we had 3 or 4 days before our first game, maybe 5. And baseball's kind of funny because no matter what team I've played for, whether it was high school, this team I'm with now in college, Jamestown, any travel team, it's kind of you show up and you already have so much in common with everyone that finding topics to talk about and finding, things to build conversation off of, finding things that you have similar with other people, it's really easy. And that's what I love the most about baseball is the team atmosphere. So, I show up, I knew like 1 or 2 kids previously from Florida, but not knowing 90% of the roster, it was kind of easy to build relationships. Um, just finding like, even with pitchers, like just some of the other pitchers talking about what they've learned from different coaches, where they came from, what college they're at, what they've learned in college. I was one of the only freshmen on the team. So it was kind of a cooler experience for me getting to talk to some of the older guys who were, third, fourth year in college and what they've learned and, give me some insight as to what I'm going to need to know for the future and what they've been taught by their coaches in college, whether it's D1, D2, D3, JUCO, any level you can learn different skills from. And we just kind of created a brotherhood up there in Jamestown. Everyone was super tight. We never had any off the field issues. Everyone played really well. We had great team chemistry and it was just an all around fun experience. And it was like a brotherhood. It's the best word I can use.
So the first game in July was an exhibition game against a team called the Buffalo Diesel. And you had actually what ended up being the number 10 moment in the top 10 Tarp Skunks plays of the year with a very loud, very convincing double. And the following game, I think it was your parents came to the ballpark, and they kind of let it spill that you had been lobbying for a little bit to get that at bat. Take me through what it took to get that at bat and the feelings and emotions, going through your head, because I think you and I had spoken before and you had said that you hadn't really had a lot of hitting opportunities since high school, if I'm not mistaken.
So first point I want to make,
Yeah.
arguably, that should be the number one moment, in my opinion. um, pitcher hitting a 2 RBI double, you don't see that every day. But going into it, I got to hit. I was a two-way up until my sophomore year of high school, and then I get the occasional at bat in the fall or in like the World Series games where you play against each other. And I always did well hitting. I was never a bad hitter. Um, had a lot of good hits in the fall. I had a grand slam in a fall World Series my senior year of high school. So I always knew I could hit. I only had to stop hitting because my pitching coach in high school didn't want me to get hurt because I had to pitch a lot for my team every year. But going into that game, we knew it was exhibition, so the game doesn't account for record for stats or anything. And, Coach Hill being a younger guy, he understood that pitchers, wanting to get at bats, and especially in games that don't matter. And we kind of had that talk pregame. I was taking pregame during pregame BP, infield, outfield, all that. I was messing around at third base and shortstop with another one of our pitchers. And we were just taking ground balls, making throws. And Coach Hill was standing there talking to us. And I was telling him, I was like, Coach Hill, if we get deep in this game and you want to let the pitchers take some swings, like, don't be afraid to put me up there. And he kind of laughed. And, it gets to that point in the game. I think it was in the eighth inning. And we were winning by 2 runs, I think. And Coach Hill comes over to some of the pitchers and he's like, if you guys want to get in at bat this inning, you guys are going to bat for these people, and then you're going to go to the field. And he came up and told me I was going to play second base and bat. It was like 6th that inning or something like that. So I knew it was a small chance I'd get the hit because we had to go through 5 guys before me. And that was our last at bat of the game because we were up and we were going top of the ninth. We knew we were going to win the game. So when it got to the guy before me, which I got to give big credit to Connor Kiefer here, he hits a RBI single in a 2-strike count. He started 0-2, worked it all the way to full, and hits a RBI single to give me an opportunity to come up. And all I told myself was, don't make a fool of yourself. Hit the ball. If you ground out, if you fly out, that happens. You're a pitcher. You're not supposed to get a hit. But it'd be pretty cool if you could get a hit here. And I just told myself, hunt the fastball. Don't swing it off speed. You're not going to make a good swing on that. Just hit the fastball. And he gave me a fastball in a 2-strike count. And I put a good swing on it. And it felt just like, at bats in the fall in high school or any at bat I'd ever had. It wasn't like I was overamped up or I was nervous for it or anything. I was more excited than nervous, especially with that many people in the crowd. A pitcher hitting is not something you see every day. So I kind of wanted to give him a little show.
Well, I will tell you that it not only lit up Dietrich Park, it definitely lit up the broadcast booth because that's all we were talking about pregame for the next 2 or 3 games. Matty G and I up in the booth, that Brady Wright thing. And when I am done with a game, I'll go back and I'll watch it 3 times for 3 different reasons. And I just ended up replaying that over and over again just because of the electricity of the moment. So, I can understand where, you pushing for the number 1. And, unfortunately it was a committee of 1 that made a decision. So you take me off the Christmas card list for this year, I guess.
No worries. I've definitely gone back and rewatched it a few times. It's a very electric moment. You guys did a great job in the booth. I'll give you that. The call was amazing.
Thank you. And one of the things I have a problem with, I don't really accept compliments that well. I'm just there to do my job and to make you guys look and sound as good as I possibly can. So, to me, that's huge. So I appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Of course.
As we head off into the sunset here, you're going to be starting your freshman season at Santa Fe College in Gainesville, Florida. Yes,
sir.
I wrote that down right. What is probably the 1 or 2 biggest things from this experience playing with Jamestown that is going to carry over with you as far as, anything from preparation to getting on the field to getting on those long bus rides? What are you going to take with you?
The best experience I learned from Jamestown was how to navigate college hitters, because high school and college hitters are very different. In high school, anyone who tries out can make a team. In college, it's the best players from each high school are on that roster. So you're not going to see anyone up there who's, they're not a good hitter. Everyone you're going to face is good hitters, whether you're facing your own teammates, you're facing opposing teams, or you're in the playoffs. Everyone's a good hitter. And so certain things in high school that worked for me didn't work in Jamestown. I had to learn and adapt on how to pitch to college hitters a different way. And there were some ups and downs to that. A lot of learning experiences I took away, whether it was a good start or a bad start, good relief appearance, bad relief appearance. I learned a lot of things about myself and about how to pitch in college, and it's carried over really well for me at Santa Fe so far. It's definitely made it a lot easier after facing guys up in New York first. I can't say easier, but it's made me more knowledgeable on what to do in college. And, you talk about those long bus rides. We're going to have a few of them up coming up here soon. Our season starts this week actually, and the bus rides are some of the most fun times I had up in Jamestown. Sounds like hell getting on a bus ride for 8, 9, 10 hours, but you make so many memories just talking and goofing around with the guys on the bus. No matter what's going on. I mean, especially after a big win. I remember a few bus rides after a couple big wins on the road. The bus ride back was the most fun. You got music going, you got everyone doing different things, playing different games in the back, just getting along is, like I said, like a brotherhood. And that was some of the most fun times. And then the preparation outlook was definitely huge for me to learn because in college, you get told whether you're a starter or reliever. And if you're a reliever, you don't have set days of when you throw. You just got to be ready whenever. And I kind of learned that up in Jamestown, just being ready to throw whenever I'm needed. And that's kind of what I'm bringing here is always be prepared, always be ready. You don't know when you're needed, whether it's, it could be in the first inning of a game, it could be in the last inning of a game. And I'm thankful for the coaching staff up in Jamestown because I got to do each different role. I started games, I relieved games, I closed games. It was very, very helpful to get to learn all the different, aspects of pitching in college baseball up in Jamestown. And so they did a great job preparing me for this upcoming season as well. So I'm very, very thankful for them.
If you had one message for the fans of the Tarp Skunks, what would it be?
Really just thank you. I mean, I started the first game of the summer and I just finished my high school season 2, 3 weeks prior. And I was welcomed to a very, very welcoming crowd. My walking out to the mound for the first time, thousands of people there. Everyone was so supportive and hearing my name chanted by that many people, as being an 18-year-old kid walking onto that mound with that many people there to watch, it's definitely a crazy experience. In every home game, no matter if we were winning or losing, the fans were always so supportive. They always had our backs no matter what. And then, even during the game, having, kids come over and talk to us, parents come over and talk to us, sign autographs for whoever, it made the experience truly amazing. And I think that was arguably one of the best parts of the summer was the fans. Like the parade we had, one of the first days we were there was another amazing experience, getting to meet all the fans coming out who support us every day. Even on the road games, the fans who watch the broadcasts. And no matter where we were, we always had the city of Jamestown behind us and super supportive. And I just can't thank them enough for that.
Well, Brady, you were an absolute joy to have the honor and privilege of getting a chance to call your action. And I definitely will be following you this season. Hopefully you'll check in with us at some point, maybe after the season, just to let us know how things are going. And if you ever find yourself up in New York, you always have a welcome spot in the broadcast booth.
I love that. Thank you so much.
Brady Wright, pitcher for the Jamestown Tarp Skunks for 2024, the man who proudly owns the number 10 highlight for the 2024 season. Brady, thank you very much for joining us, and definitely send my well wishes to your parents as well.
I will. Thank you so much for having me. It was
All right.
a great experience.
Brady Wright joining us on Tarp Talk, and I gotta say, again, having his parents up in the booth for that interview was really something that I'm glad it turned into a thing, because we had Gage Hayes' parents come in and Austin Matranga's dad came in, and just really had a chance to get to know the kids from the parents' point of view and just have a little bit of fun watching their kids play baseball. So if you're listening to this and your son is coming to play for the Jamestown Tarp Skunks, or if you're a player listening to this getting ready to play for the Jamestown Tarp Skunks in 2025, let Christian know that, hey, when my parents come tour Russell E. Dietrich Park, we want to go up and be part of that fun up in the broadcast booth. We had, like I said, 3 great guests last year, and with 23, 24 home games this season, hopefully we can get 23, 24 good interviews to mix in throughout the season and get to know these players a little bit better. We are just 50 days away from opening day again, May 29th, 6:30 p.m., the first pitch for the Jamestown Tarp Skunks hosting the division rival Batavia Muck Dogs. Again, you're going to want to keep your eye on the website, JamestownTarpSkunks.com, for all the promotional information once the promotional schedule is released, all the fun, frivolity, and activities associated with opening day will be released. And I can tell you folks, you are going to want to get to the ballpark early. You are going to make sure you get yourself a parking spot, get yourself a ticket. You do not want to miss out on opening day, 5th anniversary of the Jamestown Tarp Skunks. And hopefully we could see some Tarp Skunks records fall this year. Last year we had 2 pitchers that had over 40, or was it 40 or 50 innings pitched, that finished with ERAs under 2, which is the first time that the Tarp Skunks have had that. Also, we had 4 hitters for the first time in Tarp Skunks history finished the season hitting over 300, led by Kobe Jones. And we will definitely talk about that next week, those 4 hitters, and kind of give you an idea of what they're doing during spring ball this year. Also, as we begin to wrap up here, I do want to make mention one more time of the Whiffy Fund. Go to JamestownTarpSkunks.com, click on the Whiffy Fund, and read the article. Scroll down to the bottom of the page where it says click here to donate. Here is the hyperlink, and that will take you straight to the donation page so you can help Jamestown community youth attend Tarp Skunks games free of charge. Last year, over 2,500 community youth attended Tarp Skunks games free of charge. Let's see if we can get that up to 3,000 this year. That'll be my personal challenge to everybody out there. So again, JamestownTarpSkunks.com, click on the Whiffy Fund and donate. And if you want more information, you can visit the Chautauqua Region Community Foundation website at www.crcfonline.org. One final thing as we round third and head for home on this second episode of Tarp Talk, don't forget to get your Jamestown Tarp Skunks gear early, and you can get them by going to the website and clicking on the shop link and checking out all the new Tarp Skunks gear. You're not going to want to walk through the gates of Russell E. Dietrich Park without representing your Skunks, and this is the best way to do it. Again, JamestownTarpSkunks.com, click on the shop tab and pick up something special for yourself or that special someone. All right, that's going to wrap it up for me here on a Wednesday evening. Next week on the show, Austin Matrenga joins us for a nice little conversation, and we preview more of the 2025 Jamestown Tarp Skunks season. Again, if you want to add to the show, questions, comments, tell a story, tarptalk2025@gmail.com. I'm Dre Guinness, thanking you for joining us here tonight. We'll see you next week right here on Tarp Talk on 107.9 WRFA.